Okay, now in this tutorial what I want to cover is I'm going to start with a controller from scratch, show how we get parameters from the URL, and show how to transfer the data from the controller action to the views. Okay, this is going to be interesting because actually we didn't cover that. Let's take a quick look of the CM controller, which has been scaffolded, has been created by Visual Studio for us, and it works perfect based only on the created model. We have created a model, and after that we scaffolded this model. CM controller, base controller. We know why we are using base controller. If you watched our previous tutorial, you know that we are using this base controller to implement internationalization, DB application, DB context. Actually, this is the class which makes the connection to the database and communicate with our persistent layer. And also, it contains all our classes which represent our business logic. Allow anonymous. This is for authorization, action result, index, DB contacts to list. Strongly typed views. We're using here the model which we have created, which is the contacts. Okay, let's go back. Where was that? Okay. If you look at the view, you'll see that there is a model which is used. This is the most recommended type way to transfer data to the view using the ViewModel. Action details, nullable ID. Details, we send the ID in the URL usually, and extract, we find from our virtual database created by Entity Framework the search contact, the contact with this ID, and we display it. Action result create. Now this is quite interesting. Create. This is the landing page for creating new records, new contacts. Again, is you use the model to generate the form in the views. Contact manager, CM. Here we go. So what I was talking about when I said index is this. Here we go. Model enumerable contact manager models contact. This is the fully qualified class name because we don't use the using statement. ViewBag title, and this is how it looks. Model lambda is used here, model name, model address, and so on and so forth. Okay, let me go back. Review HT post. Now, the method with the same name, in other words, overloaded method, is used for processing the post data, and we are using binding here. With this annotation, this is exactly what we are saying. Okay, bind all this names, this element names which are coming from the form to the contact object. After that we check if it's valid, if all the values are valid, and after that we just add this contact and save it and redirect to index. It's so simple, it's pretty straightforward. Editing, the same thing. Okay, we get there with the get. Notice the notation HTTP post. It's possible actually to have the very same methods even with the same signatures, not with the same signatures, but it's possible to have two different methods with different names as actions, but at the same time they will be accessed through the same controller parameter from the URL. Okay, so public action result edit ID return HTTP blah blah. Okay, so actually let's do something, because just talking is not enough. So let's create one controller hello world to show some of the concepts. Controller, click add, come on, controller, and I'm gonna call this hello controller, just to discuss some of the things which I wanted to touch. Controller hello. Okay, this is gonna be an empty controller. It's gonna be created only the landing page index. Okay, so index action result. Now, how do we accept parameters from the URL or from post method? How do we access this? How can we send parameters? View. Right now we don't have a view. What we can do is, instead of returning action result, we can return string. And in this case, I'm gonna do return hello world. The view is not gonna be working, the layout is not gonna be working. I'm doing something which shouldn't be doing. In other words, the controller and the action will say something. Controller and action shouldn't be saying anything, shouldn't be outputting anything. They just should send the information to the view. Okay, let me build this, and we know from routing that now I can access this controller by typing his name, hello, in the URL, and eventually index action, which by default will be called anyway. So now, did we finish with building the project? Let me go here and let's say hello index. Hello index, and we should be able to see now hello world. This is the first step. I wanted to cover this in English because I have covered this in many tutorials on Bulgarian, all these steps, but I just noticed that the tutorials which I have created here on English doesn't cover this topic. So for novice it's a little bit more difficult to understand what is going on. So let's back up a little bit and try to explain that first. Hello index, it takes forever. Okay, finally we got it. Hello world. Okay. Can we say something else? No, for example, I'm experimenting in front of you right now. Return, and let's say response. Right? Is there such thing? Response. Right? No. Home, login, about, contact. Oh. Response. I misspelled it, sorry about that. Response. As you can see, we can use this property. Response. Right. And we can say can we? Void, of course. Not null, void. Sorry about that. Okay, let's see if that works. I can build. This is the old web forms way to say something. Okay, and let me try it again. to do the same. Hello index. Yeah, very quick. Very quick. It didn't take forever. Okay, so this is another way to do it. As I said, all of these ways are not correct. In fact, you have to use view, but let's stick for now with whatever we have. Let's discuss these problems. So return instead of void. Let's put again string here. Index. So I'm gonna say here string. I remember something like num times or integer num times, and I will concatenate this num times, and let's use only this parameter build. Come on. I'm waiting for building to complete. Okay, finally it's done. Let me try now. Should print only hello world. No wonder, of course. I'm gonna show how to accept parameters from the URL and how to transfer data to the view. Right now we don't have a view script anyway. So, and something more exotic, I'm gonna show you in this tutorial how to connect to an old Access database, extract data, eventually work with this old Access database file. And this is what I recently was doing. There's so many tutorials which discuss how to use Entity Framework and many other concepts of ASP.NET MVC. Ooh, hello world. The parameter dictionary contains a null entry for num times. Nullable. So let's set the default value, which is, for example, 1. It's not nullable, and this because it's not sent, it's null. So I could do two things: set a default value or make integer nullable, like that. So actually, why not both? Let's do both of them. Now it's gonna work. Control Shift B, which is build solution. Let's see if that works. Okay, let's refresh now. Hopefully it's not gonna get errors anymore. It's gonna print 0, hello world 0 at the end, because we have a default value. Come on. And voila, we have it. Actually, in the error message, if you look at, you will see the suggestions which Visual Studio, which you get from this error. The optional parameter could have a value or could be nullable. In any case, I did both. Okay, so how can we send this parameter, which was called num times equals 5? Let's see if that works. Here we go, and it works, as you can see here, 5. So now I can send different parameter, 6, 7, and whatever. Okay, can I send here something as well? Yes, I can. As you can see, let me show you the root. Application start, root config, and definition. As you can see, there is a placeholder for ID. So I could, for example, take this ID as well in my controller, which was hello controller. I could say, for example, integer ID, and I can print this as well, and just to make it a little bit more readable, plus ID, and here hello world num times equals, and do you know what, ID actually comes first, so okay, so I'm gonna put it here, ID plus something like that, num times ID plus. Okay, so let's see how that works. Num times ID has a default value, so hopefully even if I don't provide a value, it's optional, even if I don't provide value, nothing is gonna happen. Okay, let me go back to my hello controller. Right now I'm playing in front of you, so you don't have to do it. Maybe you will watch this and understand how ASP.NET MVC works. Okay, in this hello world actually controller or hello controller, what I'm gonna do is, as I said, I'm gonna connect to one Access database and use quick and dirty way to extract data. I'm not gonna create entities, I'm not gonna create classes whatsoever. I'm gonna use the old approach, dropping to the level of database access, data access level. This layer, data access layer, AutoDB. I'm gonna use AutoDB. Okay, but that's just in a minute. Let me play first with this. Let's try and see what happens here. And voila, everything works. What if we don't have tree at all? Error. What if I remove this? Again, error, parameter dictionary contains a null entry, parameter ID non-nullable, blah blah. So if I make it nullable, I'm gonna save myself this trouble. Again, build. Actually, if you look the message, you'll see how to solve. An optional parameter must be a reference type, a nullable type, or declared as an optional parameter. Okay, let me refresh now and see what happens. Here we go. ID is not presented, doesn't exist. What if I put /? Again, ID doesn't work, but that's not a problem. Now ID it's number 4. Here it is how they correlate. And 7. Of course you can change the road, so you'll get more parameters. You just have to pay attention on nullable, not nullable, and all this kind of stuff, optional parameters. Let me add something else also. Why don't we add a third parameter, which is string, for example. It is nullable anyway, so I don't have to explicitly put here question mark. String is nullable. This is parameter called name, and I will put here name equals plus name. Voila, Control Shift B, build, and of course I get error because this is optional parameter, and it's after optional parameter. So once you start with optional parameters, you have to be consistent to the end. All following parameters should be optional as well. You have to give them values. So this is one empty value, and again build. Project has been built. Let's see what happens now. Yeah, everything works as expected. Let's add this name equals Stoyan and see what happens. Voila, everything works. Enough with this. Let's send these parameters to the view. Let's create a view and see how we can pass these parameters, these values, to the view, because it's a view's responsibility to show them. The presentation layer should show them. Okay, now for each controller we have a folder with the same name correlating or mapping the name of the controller. As you can see here, we don't have, we have already hello, thank you God. At least it's created, but we don't have the view script which correlates to the index action. So we don't have a view script. It's gonna be created right now. We're gonna create it right now. Click with the right mouse button, add view, and the view will be created now for us. View name index, template empty, without model. It allows us to do a lot of things. This is without model, this is exactly what I want. Model class, otherwise data context, options create as a partial view, reference script libraries, user layout page. Okay, so I don't want that. I'll say add, and I will get a new view script. Let's see how many ways do we have right now to pass parameters, values to the view. Now, of course, we don't need anymore this string as a return value. The return value should be action result now. Action result. I will keep this just as a reference string, hello world. Return, of course, we cannot return this anymore. Return view, and I will put it at the end. And just comment, I don't remove anything. This is how I am. I just want to keep everything so I can go back and remember what was it even without the video. Return view. Let's look at the view now. Go to the view, ViewBag, index. Okay, so there are three ways to do that. There are three ways, actually there are more, four, to send values to the view. Okay, the first one with the newest, probably the newest one, yeah, probably the ViewBag, with the ViewBag. Okay, so ViewBag dynamic parameters. ViewBag, you give a name whatever you like. For example, ID equals ID. Again, ViewBag, for example, num times equals num times, and that's enough for us for now. What about if we have a list, a collection? Not a problem. Let's say students, list of students, ViewBag equals students, and these students are new list. We'll keep only the names string, and what I'm gonna do here is I'll type the names of the students. Stoyan, Ivan, John, Mary, and whatever. Okay, so now we are sending students, which is a list. It's a collection. How we are gonna print these values? Very simple. Let's say I'm gonna use h1 here. I'm gonna say okay, ViewBag, and notice something. Now it's not type safe. In other words, if I make a mistake here for the dynamic property, for the name of the dynamic property, I'm not gonna get error here. So during the compilation I'm not gonna get error. During the runtime I'm gonna get error, and we want to get the errors as soon as possible. So this is not the best way to pass parameters to the view, but in any case it's a very flexible way and a lot of other technologies are using it. Let's see what do we have here. We have ID, so let's print ID, for example. I come up with these ideas on the fly, right in front of you, without any preparations. I don't have time for preparations. Num times, I hope I didn't type it wrong. I didn't make any spell mistakes. And the third parameter which I'm gonna print is ViewBag students. What's gonna happen here? Of course I cannot just print like that. I could do something like for each, actually, for each let's use var student in ViewBag students, ViewBag students. Let's see if that works. And here, each time, actually, I could do this with unsorted list or whatever. I'm inspired by another tutorials which I watched, and the guys were using actually unsorted lists, so it's not such a big deal. What I'm gonna use here: table, rows, DD, lists, whatever. Student or student. Actually, I don't have to use the invariance. I can say that the student is a string, but let me do that. Student. Otherwise, it's gonna print just the word student because it thinks Razer will think that this is the my intention to print the word student. Okay, build. Hopefully, I didn't make mistakes. And let's try to run this. Yeah, it works as expected, as anticipated. Register login, and also the layout also gets rendered. Index 4, 7. This is what we're sending here. Let me try with 6, for example. It should be faster. 6, 7 number of times. Let's say 8 now, just to make sure. And we hard-coded a list, a collection of elements. This time, collection of strings. Stoyan, Ivan, John, Mary. Okay, so everything works as anticipated. As I said, it's not type safe because, as you can see, there is no way to guess the dynamic parameters, dynamic properties, sorry, or some people call them arguments or attributes. So there is no way. I'm gonna stick with the term properties. There is no way, and if I make a mistake, for example, student1, and build it, the error, as you can see, hasn't been catched here, and I will go and get error probably here. Yep, here it is. Student description: an unhandled exception occurred during the execution. System null reference exception. Of course, student is null. Object reference not set. Actually, student also is null. Whatever. Okay, so it's not safe. This is not the best way, and I'm gonna show you another way. Just let me rebuild it again just to make sure that it works. Refresh and see if that works now. Now everything works as expected. So let me play with the second way of doing things. ViewBag, instead of doing this with the ViewBag, we can use ViewData. Okay, I'm gonna copy all this, the exact same thing, but I'm gonna use ViewData. ViewData is a map, dictionary, or associative array, some people call it ViewData. I hope it's supported here in this version. ID ViewData. Let me try again. ViewData. Yes, it's a property, as you can see, and it's a dictionary. Key value pairs, none times. Again, it's up to you how you're gonna name the keys. None times. Again, not a safe way to do it. You won't get errors while you're typing the code. You won't know you made errors. ViewData. So students, this has been discussed, and it is discussed in so many other tutorials. But in any case, I want to cover this as fast as possible. And how you're gonna use this, again, instead of, let me try something here. Let me do it this way. Now I'm gonna put all this code here and try to comment. See what happens. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy and paste here, so I'm not gonna waste my time and your time as well. ViewData, and this time it should work like that. ViewData ID, but there is no really a way to check if such ID, such a key exists. So if I mistyped, misspelled, and here comes something very interesting. Notice they use the most abstract type here, because there is no other way, object, which means that we have to do casting. Data in ViewData, students, for each data can operate in a variable type object. Cast to what? I enumerable. Let me try that. And it was string. So we actually have to downcast. Because what we get here from ViewData students is gonna be object. And now hopefully this works. Control Shift B. Let's refresh and see if that works. It works perfect. Again, let's change 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, whatever. Okay, so it works. This is the second way you can pass parameters to the view. And the third and the most recommended way is using the view models. Okay, so using the view models actually requires us to create a class. Okay. Okay, let me create this class. Let's pretend that this is something real. I'm just thinking about more relevant example, but why not? Let's say we want to transfer data to the view data, or the third way actually we can look at what we have created here, the contact. Okay, now let me create a folder ViewModels and demonstrate this anyway. Contact, add new folder, and I'm gonna call it View Models, and in View Models I'm gonna create one class. I'm gonna call this class index view model. I don't pretend right now that I'm doing the absolutely right things, because usually what you do when you create a model, you implement your business logic there, your domain logic. Actually, you have to create entities which correspond to the entities from the real world. Right now, I'm using index view model just to represent the third way to transfer data to the view. It doesn't pretend to be something that really exists, or it's a model from the real world. Okay, I just started with this example and I just will keep following it. So in this model, I'm gonna say public integer ID, and I'm gonna use getter and setter, and I'm done. After that, public again, public integer num times. I'm thinking about something here. ID, it's a good idea to be with capital letter, and because this is property, it's not a field, I'm gonna use it this way. Index view model, this is num times integer again, get, set, done, and I have here a list of things to transfer students. Okay, let's pretend that this is something from the real world. Actually, public, that's why, because I couldn't figure out something from the real world, I name it view model, because the purpose here is just to transfer data, not to represent from something from the real world. This is list of strings. It's a collection of strings, and it's called students, and I will get getter, and I will have getter in setter and setter, and that's it. Perfect. Now I have to build the solution, because otherwise it may not work. Okay, done. Now what we are gonna do here is I'm gonna say this is the second approach of ViewData, ViewData, and this is the first approach, which is ViewBag. I'm gonna comment this ViewData, ViewBag, and I'm gonna instantiate one object of this class index view model. I'm gonna say index view model, and since I don't have a using statement, I either have to use the fully qualified class name or select it and ask for suggestions. Now index view model, index view model, using contact manager models, view models actually, using contact manager view models, index view model. It happened that I have two index view models, one in the model I didn't notice that. Oh no, I don't have it. In any case, index view model equals, oops, sorry, this is gonna be index view model. I'm gonna instantiate index view model, and I even can set values, but let me do this in the ordinary way. So index view model object, the property ID I'll set to ID, just to be consistent and to transfer the very same data. That's why I did this model. ID, what happened now here? What is complaining here? Parameter int ID. I see what the problem is. View model. Okay, then I'll make you nullable. Make you nullable as well. It's complaining because they're not nullable. Okay, I even build it again, the solution, just for any case. I don't have to, but index, again, index view model object none times equals none times, and again index view model now students equals, and I'm gonna copy this collection because I don't want to type it again, and that's it. We're ready to go. Index view model. Now we have to do some modifications. Now if you go here and look at the IntelliSense, you'll notice that there are 7 overloads of this method. So one of these overloads allows me to send the model, which is the index view model. Index view model. In other words, once this object has been created, I can send it to the view. Of course, I can send a list of such models if I have more than one. Right now I have only one, but a list also is acceptable. Now I have to do some changes in my index here. View model. So the changes will be model index view model, and since I don't have the namespace using statement, I could use using, and I can say what was the namespace here? Hello controller. It's view models, so I don't have to type the fully qualified names. Using, let me remove this and see if that works. Hopefully it does. Okay, and now I'm gonna say model, and my model is this class, index view model. And after that I can refer to the model eventually when I need to do that, the very same thing. As I said, the purpose doing this view model, it doesn't make very much sense. The purpose is just to show the very same output, the very same data sent 3 different ways. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna comment again my code, and here I'm gonna start over again. This time, instead of ViewData, I can do model, and oops, h1 model, and when I type dot, nothing happens. When I type model, I should be able to see the properties should index ViewModel, which doesn't happen right now. Do you know what? I'm gonna create this view again just for any case. So let me copy this view, views. Okay, I'll figure out where the problem is. I'm gonna copy this index. After that, I'm gonna remove it. Delete, and I'm gonna recreate it again. What's the problem now? Okay, hello controller, and I'm gonna tell you create add view, but this time I'm gonna show you which models do I want you to use. Okay, empty without model. No, I want to have a model. Without the model, create, delete, empty without model. Or let's try it this way. Empty, but this time with model. Of course, I haven't added this to the context, so yeah, that obviously doesn't work, but let me see if I have it here. What was it? It was index ViewModel contact manager, data source create as a partial reference script libraries. Okay, let me try like that. It's not added to the application data context, but let's see what happens now. Am I gonna get error? I'm curious to see that. I wanna see the syntax is not added to the context. Yeah, there are consequences because I didn't create a model. Actually, I created just for the purposes of this tutorial something which is very strange. ViewModel, but let's see. Scaffolding, Microsoft Visual Studio. Let me see if I will be able to get something. Model, contact manager, view, index. Yes, here we go. Okay, now ViewBag. I wasn't sure actually that I was doing the right thing. Now, can you see we have the fully qualified class name here? So I'm gonna copy. Maybe this was my mistake. Model, or there is something deeper. Index view models using. Okay, so I'm curious to see if I put the fully qualified name, everything is gonna work even in this view. Yep, probably. Contact manager view models index. What is the problem? Is a type which is not valid in the given context. Yeah, of course. Only assignment, call, increment, decrement, and new object expressions can be used as a statement. Okay. In any case, let me go back here and try and see if that's gonna work. I'm gonna copy from here, paste it, and try instead of ViewData to use model. Model dot oops model dot nothing happens. It gives me error. So I have to add actually this to the context, and in this case it's gonna work. I didn't want to do that, but what can I do now? ViewBag model. Otherwise I will not be able to demonstrate that. Let me go here to the models, manage view models, and let me see if that context is here. Manage login view model, set password, identity contact account view, identity models, application, contact manager models, contact manager view models, index view model. Actually, it has been added anyway. So why is that? Actually, I have it. Why my index is not working? Yeah, miraculously it works when I change the first letter to capital M, which is a little bit strange to me. Model, and here we go. ID. I will try after that with the previous view script model, but as you can see now I cannot make mistakes. Sometimes in here I don't have to cast, because I can say model students and I'm ready to go. So that's gonna work. Actually, this is gonna give me a chance to show something else. Okay, model. I did this manually. It's very strange. View models. Probably I misspelled it somehow. In any case, both of these view scripts are gonna work, I believe. So let me try first with the one I just generated, newly generated, and make sure that everything works. Okay, in the view, hello, I have index. Let me build just for any case. Okay, the build process completed. Refresh. So this is the third way to pass values to the view, to pass parameters to the view. Also, this is the safest and the most recommended way to do it. Let me check something. Language. Which language is the default? My preferred language. Bulgarian. Strange. Why the translation is not working. In any case, I'm not gonna pay attention on that. That's not that important right now. Yep, as you can see, everything works. Yeah, I'm gonna say 3, 11, whatever. Those values are hard-coded. So index copy. Actually, do you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna copy this, put it in index copy here, and after that, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rename this to index view model, because this is just used for and only for view model, and I'm gonna rename this back to index. Save it, build it, done, refresh, everything works. Okay, so if the data is sent with a post method, everything works the very same way. We just have to put annotation post here, as you can see on other controllers, and you can bind the data which is sent, the names of the arguments which are sent, to the names of the properties which our model has. Okay, so the next thing which I'm gonna do is I'm gonna connect my application to one existing old Access database file. To do that, I'm gonna resize this window, and here it is, my test database. I'm just gonna drag it here. I'm not even gonna put it in a separate folder or something. I'm gonna put it in this project, contact manager. Okay, in the root of the contact manager. This is a test access database. Here we go, MDB file, and I can use the Server Explorer to connect to this test MDB. Just take a look, create one query eventually, and after that use it in my hello action, index action, or another action. Let's assume that I have to extract data from this file. Change access database. This is what I'm gonna do. I wanna connect to one access database. I'm waiting now. I'm gonna use AutoDB, active database object. Okay, browse. I don't want this project. What's the name of this project? Contact manager. Contact manager. Test MDB. Open this file. Test connection. Succeeded. Okay. So now I have quite a lot of tables here. Oh, I didn't expect that many. In any case, so refresh, new query, refresh, new query. Let's say I want to have something like status, use student, add, and the query builder creating the query for me. Select from your students, inner join, student status, whatever. So this is the way you create the queries. You always can add more tables. For example, I don't know what that is, so for example, let's say this one. Close. As you can see, there are connections between the different tables. So this is how you create actually this is one of the ways, the graphical way to create your SQL queries. I don't like this way very much. I do everything by hand, so I think I have prepared some of the queries, and let's do something like let's say report. This is what I wanted to show. Report. Let me create a new action. It's not gonna take any parameters. Report. Report is not taking anything. Formal parameters, no formal parameters, and gonna return view. That's it. Report. Before that, what I'm gonna do is actually what I'm showing here is rather work with AutoDB, which can be done on very smarter, not very, but can be done smarter, not like this, because right now I'm gonna use a brute force expected, yeah, like that. So report, Let me see what type of a code snippets do I have here. View model, year period model. Okay, I'm gonna stick with the third way of transferring data to the view. Again, not very interesting probably example, but it's gonna do the job. Because I have a mixture of different data which I have to transfer right now. Browse add class, and I'm gonna call this class how did I call it here? Year period view model. Year period view model. That's strange. Year period view model. Let me see. What do I have here? I actually have the entire class, so I hope I didn't make mistakes. Year period view model when I name it the file. Hopefully not. Okay. So now what I'm gonna do is first I'm gonna connect to the database, and this is the most important thing I wanted to show here. Look now, what we're gonna use is HTTP context server map path. OLEDB. Okay, give me a suggestion. Add a namespace, OLEDB. So the first step is to establish connection to the database. This is the first class. The second step is actually to prepare the comment. Preparing the comment. A connection. This is the SQL statement. I don't have parameters, whatever. And the third thing to do, all this of course is gonna be encapsulated in the business layer. I should have methods which extract the data and populate objects. But as I said, I'm gonna show this quick and dirty way to do it. If you're gonna use it only once in your application, then probably it's possible to do it this way. And voila, now year period, both these are strings, I believe. So year, because from the database they come as strings year, and period, oops, sorry, string period. Okay, you should parse reader to string. Oh, u short and byte. They're not strings. This is u short. It's a number. Year, it's not a date, it's a number. So that's why I'm using byte. I'm not gonna not gonna get deep into this. So this is one integer, the year is an integer, and the period is also a small number. So here we go. Let's take a look what's going on here. So first we prepare the connection, and we keep the connection into the variable aConnection. Second, comment. We prepare the comment, the SQL comment, years period comment. This is the way to do it. Now we have this object, years periods comment. We prepared a collection of year period view model of our view model, years periods, and in the try catch statement actually we open the connection and we read the data, execute reader. We get all the data into the reader. This is the third object from the OLEDB, a reader read, and we create a loop. On each iteration we take these integers, which are representing the year and the period. We create a new object of our model and we populate with data. Hydrate as is another term. Years period, add year period. We add it to the list of these objects. E console write line, doing nothing if there is an error. Okay, you probably should do something, but that's okay for now. Our connection close, years periods, and this is what we sent to our view. Now let me build again the project. Another thing to notice is that with Access I cannot use Entity Framework. I have to do object relational mapping manually. How close can we get to the Entity Framework? By using the fourth object from the OLE, from this database abstraction layer, which is a data set. I have one example of using it, but probably I'm not gonna show it here, so let's stick with what we have right now. Let's create the view for this report. Add view, for example. Report empty without model. Empty. Actually, I have a list here. Model class year. It's not included in the context, but year period view model, application DB context, create as a partial view reference strip library. Let me check something else. Let me see. Do I have? No, I still don't have it in the context. It's gonna be added to the context when I create the view. Okay, so let me go back. Hello, and create this view. It's gonna be automatically generated list, report, list, year period model. Now let's create it. Oh, I got an error. I don't have a key. Okay, so cancel that. Go and create ID. Year period model. Okay, so public integer ID. get and set, and let's see if this is gonna solve the issue we have. ID. That's strange. Okay, hello controller. Action report. Again, let's try to add a view. I have to build the application before start again. Control Shift B. Okay, has been rebuilt. Report, try again to create the view. Okay, it's called report. It's gonna be list. Maybe because I have chosen list. If it was empty, I may not have error problems. But failure, as usual, is a great way to learn things. I just hope that it doesn't happen in a stressful situation. Let's see now. If the list doesn't work, I'll choose something else. Yeah, it works. Report create new create. Actually, I don't need to create anything. Details, I don't even need details. Edit, delete, I don't need that. Item period, model, item period. Create HTML for display name for model, model period. In any case, I'm curious to see how it looks. I may copy only this, just for any case, because maybe I will create another view manually. Not satisfied with what I see here. ID, item, ID, item, ID. Okay, that's fine, but item period, model display for when I'm looping here, view item, model item, period, only period. Model period, and I clearly remember that I had year as well. Maybe I don't see something, because in any case it's very late right now. Let me try to run the application this way. Building process has been completed. Report index. Hello. Report. This is what I'm trying to do. Eventually I'm gonna get something from the Access database. Here we go, even though I have only period, which is only one of the properties. It's not a very bad thing. Actually, what I can do here is th display name model year. It's not a period, but year. I would like to have year as well. Year model, is it there? Year. Okay. Th model, and here I'm gonna display again year. This is lambda. Okay. Do I have in the item here? Yes, I do have it. So this is what I want to have here. And even without rebuilding, probably I should have it working. Yeah, I do have it. That's great. Um, I was just thinking, do I have to touch also the topic about the identity index? Hello, where is this? I have so many open things here. Hello controller. What happens if I want to use dataset? For the dataset, we have to use the fourth actually element from ADO. I could do something to demonstrate the usage of dataset. Here I have a code snippet. So data adapter. So let's take a look. What do we have here? This is obviously a string. This is obviously a string. So if you decide to use dataset, you can create a SQL query with as many tables as you want, with left join, inner join, right join, whatever, group, and the result you can load into the memory, which is very good approach. Data adapter. I'm obviously missing a code here. This should be ole data. Okay, I hope that is gonna ole db data adapter. And here I need a data set. ole db data set. Let me see something here. Data set. Yeah, I need a data set using system data. Is not part of the ole data set, and this is what actually we can do. For we can create a data set. We're not gonna use it right now, of course, but this is the way to do it, and probably this should be wrapped in a try-catch statement. So I'm gonna comment this just to make sure it's not gonna break my application right now, but it's good to see the code. So this is how you create a data set, and after that data set can be queried with LINQ. So this is as close as we can get from Access database, from one old Access database to Entity Framework. Direct usage of Entity Framework with Access is impossible. It's not possible. So let's wrap up this tutorial, which it's very long, but it happened this way. We discussed the three ways to transfer data from the action of the controller to the view. The first one was with ViewBag, which is the newest one, with dynamic properties. The second using the ViewData, which is a dictionary map or associative array called sometimes. And the third and the most proper way is using ViewModels. Of course, it happens that I called this model's ViewModel. I prepended with I appended ViewModel at the end of the name, but in fact this is only one entity from your domain logic, as we did it, for example, for contact. So you don't always have to append this ViewModel at the end. Don't just follow the naming convention and call your entity the way which is the most appropriate. In this case. Okay, view And in the view scripts, actually, which one is the index which I needed? In the view scripts, all you have to do is just add here either the fully qualified. I will examine again this approach, fully qualified name now, and you can call, you have access right now to the properties of the model just by typing the name model ID. I'm a little bit surprised. Let me try this. Model, small letters. No, it's not working. Model, capital, and it was ID. Okay, so this is what it is. You can manually create this view script if you like, of course, or you can use the assistance of Visual Studio. When you click on the action and choose add view, as you can see, it offers you to create a view for creation, for editing, for listing, whatever, which is very, very useful. It's a great way to learn it. And also I connected my action report to an old TestMDB database. I used the Server Explorer to connect to this database. There are a lot of tables, and also you can create, for example, the queries by choosing new query here and executing. Okay, let me choose this one, new query. Okay, I want only this status, for example, add only this, close it, and now selecting and executing. Execute SQL. Oh, no columns selected. Select one or more columns. Yeah, this is, oops, I hope I didn't crash my studio. Okay, so this is how you create your queries. For example, select after that. It's a very convenient way. Here, if you look in the graphical in this graphical tool, it's very easy to figure out the way to add columns to the SQL statement. Execute, and voila, we get all these things now. Okay, so this was interesting. And another thing which I touched actually was how to connect now to this database using AutoDB directly. No abstraction layers, no nothing. This could be done on a smarter way. This is quick and dirty way to connect to a database, drop to the database access layer level and work there. Only the back connection. Sometimes it happens, sometimes you need to do it. So first thing, connect to the database. The most important thing is to use HTTP context server map path, because if I deploy right now this application to Acer, what's gonna happen if you use something else? It's not gonna work, because the path on the server, on the production server, is different than the path which I have here. Okay, after creating the connection, we prepare the query, the comment, and the third step is to create the reader, which reads the information and loop through the reader to get all the records. That was it, folks, and hopefully it's helpful for somebody else, not only me.